In e-commerce, everything that happens on your website is a signal, and the most valuable thing you can do with GA4 is to start capturing those signals properly. So you're not guessing what your visitors are doing, what you're seeing it step by step. That's where events come in. Think of an event as anything that someone does on your site: clicking a button, scrolling a page, watching a video, viewing a product, adding to cart, starting the checkout, completing a purchase. All of these are events. And the better you understand them, the more control you have over improving your business. Now, in GA4, events are the foundation of everything. Unlike the old universal analytics that focused heavily on page views and sessions, GA4 is completely event based, which means you have the flexibility to track pretty much any action a user takes. But what matters is not just collecting random events, choosing the ones that actually tell a story about your customer journey. So, for example, let's say you run an online store that sells handmade soaps and skincare products. You want to know how people move from browsing to buying. The first thing you'll want to track is the product view. Every time someone lands on a product page, that's a signal of interest. Then you want to track if they click on any images or tabs on that page, like ingredients or reviews, because that shows they are exploring deeper. Then if they click add to cart, that's a much more stronger signal. They're not just browsing now, they're considering buying. So next is the begin checkout, which is when they actually start the purchase process, followed by purchase, which is the final confirmation. Now, each one of those steps is a separate event, and by setting them up correctly, you can see where people drop off. This is called funnel analysis. It's like watching a video of where people walk in and where they walk out. Let's say you notice 1,000 people are viewing products every day, but only 100 add to cart. That's a 10% conversion from view to cart. Then maybe 50 begin checkout, and only 20 complete the purchase. You now have a funnel with clear drop offs from 1,000 to 100 to 50 to 20. That information is gold, because now you can ask focused questions. Why are so many people bouncing after viewing products? Is your product description too vague? Are your images slow to load? Are prices unclear? Or maybe the add to cart button is not prominent. Then you look at the next drop. Why are only half of cart user initiating checkout? Is your cart page showing unexpected delivery fees? Is the checkout button hard to find? And finally, from checkout to purchase, are there any payment options which are missing? Is the form too long? Does it require account creation? These are not guesses, these are testable hypotheses you can validate using your real data. So that is the magic of events and funnel analysis. They remove the guesswork completely. Now in GA4, you can set up both standard and custom events. Some events like page views, scrolls, site search, and video starts are automatically tracked. But others like add to cart, begin checkout, and purchase need to be either configured through enhanced measurement or added manually, especially if you're using custom built themes or non standard platforms. For most Shopify or WooCommerce users, these events can be added using GTM or a plugin that's optimized for GA4. But even if the tool that makes it easy, the most important part is to understand why you are tracking each step. You're not just setting up numbers, you're setting up a story. And once these events are in place, GA4 lets you mark the most important ones in conversions. That means GA4 will start highlighting them in your reports and tracking how they perform across different channels like paid ads, search traffic, social media, or direct visits. So if someone buys after coming from Insta or adds to cart after clicking email link, you can trace that back. Let's take a real world example. Suppose you're running a campaign for your new charcoal face. You promote it via Insta Reels and email to your list, and a blog post that ranks on Google. With proper event tracking in place, you'll be able to see how many people viewed the product from each source, how many added it to the cart, how many began checkout, and how many bought, all broken down by source. So maybe the Instagram campaign got a lot of product views, but very few purchases. That might mean the content was engaging, but your link went to a general landing page instead of the product itself. Or maybe the blog sent fewer visitors, but with a much higher conversion rate because those users were already in research mode. That's how data tells you the truth. It does not just show what happened, it shows why something worked and why something did not work. And with GA4's funnel exploration tool, you can build a visual map of this journey. You can say, show me all users who viewed a product, added to cart, and reached the payment step, but did not buy. Then you can dig deeper. Were they all using mobile devices? Did most of them come from a certain campaign? Were they new visitors or returning ones? This level of detail is not just useful, it's actionable. Maybe you find that certain group of users that say first time visitors from Facebook ads and they keep dropping off at the shipping info page. That might mean your shipping policies are unclear or unattractive. So, what do? You test a version with simplified shipping info or add a progress bar to show how close they are to completion. And then, most importantly, you measure again. That's the loop. Set up events, define conversion, watch the funnel, identify drop offs, test changes, and repeat. That's how you optimize with confidence. Now, let's talk about micro conversions. These are small actions that don't lead directly to a sale but still show interest or engagement. For example, someone downloading a site chart, watching a product demo, clicking a review tab, or signing up for a back in stock alert. These are all signals. They tell you that the user is not ready to buy just yet, but they're curious. They might be comparing, they might be building trust. These actions should be tracked as events too, because if you see that a lot of people are watching your how to use video but not buying, you might realize your CTA is too weak. Or if many people are clicking your shippings and returns link, maybe you need to bring that info higher up on the page. Micro conversions help you improve the experience long before the final sales. And GA4 lets you build the funnels that include these softer steps. So you can create custom funnels like user lands on a product page, scrolls 50% of clicks, reviews tab, and then adds to cart. This helps you understand how content drives decisions. And if you want to go one step further, you can segment these journey by device, type, traffic source, or even location. So, for example, maybe your funnel for desktop users works great. People move smoothly from one from view to checkout, but on mobile they drop off after trying to select a variant. That tells you something is broken or clunky in your mobile UI. Or maybe users from tier 2 cities abandon carts more often. Maybe your shipping is not optimized for those areas, or your COD options are not clear. These insights are only visible when you use events and funnels together. Now, do not be overwhelmed by the depth. You do not need to track everything at once. Start with big steps, view item, add to cart, begin checkout, and purchase. Make sure they're tracked properly. Then mark them as conversions. Then open up the funnel exploration report and visualize your user journey. Look at where people are leaking out. Then choose one drop off point to improve. Maybe it is from product view to add to cart. So then think about how you can strengthen that step, better images, clearer pricing, faster loading, stronger CTA. And once you test it, look again at the funnel. Did the drop improve? If yes, that is real progress. If not, you test something else. This is the rhythm of growth, small changes backed by real data, measured consistently, and that's how great stores are built. And the beauty I'll tell you of GA4 is that once this system is in place, it runs in the background every day. You get fresh signals about what your users are doing and not doing. You can use this power to do everything else, like your ad campaigns, your landing pages, your product strategy, even your email flows. So let's say your funnel shows that people often drop off at the payment page. You can trigger an email to those users offering a limited time discount or a simpler payment method. Or maybe your funnel shows that people spend a long time on product pages with video content that could lead you to invest more in video across your store. This kind of thinking turns analytics into decisions. And the best part is over time. This process compounds. As your funnels gets cleaner and your data more consistent, your ability to test and improve gets faster. You do not waste time debating, you let the numbers speak for yourself. You're flying blind, you're not flying blind, you're flying with instruments. And that's the shift where every e-commerce founders needs to make at this point of time, especially from guessing what people want to know and what they do step by step from first click to their final sale. And once you get confident tracking and reading funnels, the next step is to layer those insights with user behavior over time. GA4 makes this easier. Then, you know, it makes it easier, like, because something called user lifetime metrics, which lets you see not just what a person did in one session, but how they behaved across multiple visits. So, for example, maybe a visitor landed on your store from an Insta ad, didn't buy, but came back 5 days later from a Google search and made a purchase. With traditional tools that would like to separate two visits, but GA4 connects them under the same user ID if tracking is set up correctly, and that helps you see real patterns. Maybe your average customer does not buy on the first visit. Maybe they need 2 or 3 more exposures. If you know that, you stop expecting instant conversions and start building for follow-ups. So let's say a customer views a product, then signs up for your newsletter. That's a conversion in its own right. Now your email strategy can step in, warming them up, reminding them of benefits, offering reviews, answering questions, and eventually they convert. That's not a straight line, that's a path. And GA4 shows you that path in its user journey reports. Another powerful tool here is event segmentation. GA4 lets you slice and dice data in all kinds of ways. You can ask, of all the people who added to cart to this week, how many came from mobile versus desktop? How many came via ads versus organic search? What was their average scroll depth before adding? And if you find that people who scroll past 75% on the product page are 3 times more likely to add to cart, that tells your product, that tells you your product story works, but only for people who stay engaged. So maybe your challenge is increasing scroll, which could mean simplifying your page layout, making the hero section more appealing, or reducing loading time. You see how these little clues turns into big ideas? So now one of the most underrated features in GA4 is event value, and it's exactly what it sounds like. Not all conversions are equal. For example, if you're tracking two different purchases, one for 299 and one for 1999, they're, the, they're both purchases, right? But their value is completely different. By attaching a value to your events, especially purchase events, you can start analyzing revenue, not just clicks. So instead of asking how many people bought, you ask how much each segment is spending. Maybe your email traffic brings in fewer purchases but higher average order value. Maybe people who come through SEO are more likely to buy in bundles. You can only see this if your events are tracking value. It's a small change with huge impact. And once you start seeing event value by source, device, and campaign, you can start optimizing your budget more intelligently. You're not just boosting the ad with the highest click rate, you're boosting the one that drives the most revenue per visitor. So that's a smarter way to scale. Another thing you should definitely use inside GA4 is event based audience creation. So let's say you want to target all users who have added a product to cart in the past 7 days but have not purchased. That's an audience. Or all users who watched 50% of your demo video and clicked see more. That's another audience. You can build these inside GA4 and connect them directly to Google Ads for retargeting. This helps you run campaigns that are hyper relevant, not just generic. Imagine a person viewed your lip balm, added it to cart, but dropped off. And now you show them an ad that says, still thinking about it? Your cart is waiting. And shipping is free today. That's not just advertising, that's finishing the conversation they already started. And the only way you do that is through tight event tracking and audience segmentation. GA4 also allows you to build predictive audiences, like users who are likely to purchase in the next 7 days based on their behavior. So this is next level stuff because now you're using machine learning to find your warmest leads. before they even can convert. And once you combine with funnels and drop off points, you get a powerful system. And here's how it might actually look. Let's say your funnel shows a big drop from begin checkout to purchase, and your predictive audience tells you who's most likely to convert. Now you can run an exit intent pop-up for a limited time offer only for that audience, or send them a reminder email with a time sensitive offer. That's how you take analytics and turn into action. Talking about e-commerce stores that sells a variety of product categories, maybe you sell skincare, supplements, and accessories. You might want to track separate funnels for each category, because someone buying a base serum behaves very different than someone buying a protein powder. Their product questions, their level of research, even the um, hesitation points are different. In GA4, you can use custom dimensions to tag products by category and build different funnel for visualizations. So this lets you spot issues that only affect one part of your store. Maybe your checkout drop off is high for supplements, but not for skincare. Maybe you need to clarify dosage or add FAQ sections. That level of insight only happens when you break things down by a category. And speaking of breakdowns, GA4 also lets you cook at some funnels by traffic source. So this is definitely huge. So let's say you're spending more money on meta ads and Google ads, but you also get organic traffic from YouTube and email. You can build funnels from each traffic source and compare. Maybe Google ads gets lots of click but low add to cart. Maybe YouTube viewers spend more time on your site but do not purchase right away. You're now able to allocate budget not just by volume but by conversion behavior. Maybe it's not getting about more clicks, it's about improving the steps after the click. So that's how small brands grow smarter, not bigger budgets, just better moves. Another underrated use case is combining event data with user location. GA4 lets you filter funnels by country, region, or even city. So maybe users in Bangalore behave differently than users in Delhi. Maybe your page loads slower in certain areas due to hosting, or maybe certain payment options are not popular in tier 2 cities. These are fixable problems, but only if you know they exist. GA4 brings that visibility to you. And now, imagine you have a seasonal sale like Diwali or Christmas. You can build a temporary funnel just for that campaign. Track users who landed on the seasonal landing page, scrolled halfway, clicked on an offer, and purchased. And then, after the campaign ends, you review the funnel. Where did users get stuck? What worked? What did not? That becomes your playbook for the next sale. This is what advanced stores do. They do not just guess what worked, they run campaigns with events in mind, and then they study the funnel afterwards. One more thing here, if you're using Shopify or WooCommerce or any other platform with GA4 with the GA4 plugin, you need to audit your event setup at least once every quarter. Why? Because product pages change, your URLs change, plugins updates are there, and sometimes your events stop firing correctly without you realizing. So for example, if you change the layout of your product page and your add to cart button gets a new CSS class, your event might break unless it is updated in your GTM, which is your Google Tag Manager. So make it a habit to test your core events regularly: product view, add to cart, checkout start, and purchase. Use the GA4 debug view tool to test events in the real time and make sure data is coming in clean. And if something looks off, like a sudden drop in conversions, check your events before you panic. It might be a tracking issue, not a business one. And lastly, do not be afraid to document your funnels. Keep a simple internal file that shows which events are tracked, where they fire, and what each funnels look like. It helps you stay organized and lets your team move faster where when changes happen. So the more your funnel maps are clear, the easier it is to debug, improve, and scale. And remember, funnels are not set in stone. Your businesses evolves. New products get added, pages change, and your marketing campaigns shift. Your funnel should evolve too, obviously. So review them every month. Ask, is this still how people buy? Is this still the journey where we are optimizing for? Because when your funnels stay relevant, your data stays useful. And when your data stays useful, your growth becomes very much predictable. And once you have set up your core funnels, tracked conversions, and started noticing patterns in where people drop off or move forward, it is time to go beyond surface level observations and start thinking about behavior based storytelling. Because at the end of the day, data is not just a reflection of what people are doing and feeling on your store. And when you interpret it with empathy, it becomes a tool for crafting better experiences, not just running reports. So let's say you're noticing that a good number of users are adding items to their cart, but very few are beginning checkout. You might immediately think that it is a pricing issue or that your shipping is too high. But dig a little deeper, maybe through your session recordings or heat maps. If you're using something like Hotjar alongside GA4 and you discover that your cart page is cluttered or ask for unnecessary information, or that it does not clearly show the total cost in which should include your tax and shipping, in that moment the event data becomes the start of a conversation, not the end of one. Similarly, let's say you've got a view product to add to cart funnel drop that seems bigger than it should be. Sure, that might be a sign that people are not interested, but it also might be because your product description is too short or too technical. Or maybe your mobile product pages require too much scrolling before they see the actual add to cart button. You should test that with a simple change. Move the button up, rewrite the headline, and add a short video or infographic, and then measure again. So that's how you should think of GA4 funnels as tools to guide iteration. And here is another thing. Sometimes it's not the funnel steps that are broken, it is the expectations of the people coming into them. A very good example, if your ad copy promises 100% organic and handmade candles with same day delivery, but the product page says delivery takes 5 days and the ingredient looks like factory grade materials, that disconnects connect can cause drop offs. That has nothing to do with your funnel design and everything to do with misaligned messaging. So that's why it is important to map your funnel events, and not just to steps on your site, but to expectations set earlier in the journey. So meaning your ad copy, your influencer mentions, your blog headlines, even the tone of your email. When these are consistent, your funnel becomes more smoother without you even changing the design. Another valuable layer in GA4 is to combine the funnel steps with device and OS, because user behavior varies wildly between platforms. So, for example, maybe your Android users are converting better than iOS. Could be that your Apple Pay integration is broken, or that iOS Safari users are not loading a pop up correctly. Or maybe you notice that on desktop people complete purchases at night, but on mobile it happens in the morning. That could be a sign to optimize your timing of email campaigns or retargeting ads. You only catch these patterns when you build funnels with granularity, uh, OS browser, time of day, even language settings. So now GA4 also allows for funnel customization using sequences, which means you can track not just whether someone did three actions, but whether they did them in a particular order. This matters when the order impacts intent. So, for example, let's say you want to know whether people who watched a how to video before viewing a product, and it is more likely to purchase than those who watch the video after seeing the product. So, you can build two funnel variations, one with video before view item and one with view item before video, and compare conversion rates. These kind of sequences based funnels gives you a nuanced insight that traditional tools never offered. You could even build a funnel like user clicked on product reviews, then clicked add to cart, then bounced, and use that to learn how much reviews influence carting behavior. Or let's say someone reads an FAQ, then clicks contact us, and then abandons the checkout. That might be a sign they did not find the answer they needed and got stuck. With this kind of event layering, you get closer to understanding real objections and frictions. And once you know the objection, you can address it in your page copy. your design, your automation, or even your product strategy. And one example I have here in mind, which is imagine you're running a store that sells personalized stationery, notebooks, journal, planners, and your funnel shows a big drop between customization and checkout. So this tells you something that about the flow. Maybe the customization tool is too slow, or users do not did not understand how to preview their name on the cover. Instead of just guessing, you could set up events like inside the customization tool, track color selections, font changes, clicks on the preview image, and see where people spend the most time or where they get stuck. You might learn that most users try changing fonts between 4 to 5 times before giving up. So that's a UI signal, not a product one. Fixing that might be the difference between a 2% and a 5% conversion rate. And in a business like yours, that small difference is massive over time. So never forget, the goal of funnel analysis is not just to reduce drop-offs, it is to identify where you can create clarity and remove friction and gives users confidence. And speaking of confidence, use event funnels to isolate the difference between first-time visitors and repeat users. Often, new visitors are more hesitant, so your funnel for them will look different. They might bounce faster or spend more time reading return policies or sizing guides. You can build segments in GA4 that compare funnels for new versus returning users and use that to design tailored experience. For example, maybe for returning visitors, you hide the long trust building copy and show the buy now CTA earlier. For new visitors, maybe you emphasize guarantees or reviews higher up. It's about giving each group what they need, and funnels reveal what that is. And if you're ever wondering whether all this funnel and event setup is worth it, so let's look at the cost of not doing it. Imagine you're spending 1,000 rupees a day on ads. That's 30,000 a month, right? If your funnel is leaking, say 50% of people drop off between add to cart and checkout, and you don't know why, you're wasting half of your budget on users who showed interest but did not get guided properly. So now fix that leak, even slightly, and let's say your conversion rise by just 10%. That's not just more sales, that's more value per ad rupee, more revenue per visitor, and a stronger return on your efforts. It compounds. Funnels are your early warning system. They don't just tell you how things are working now, they alert you before problems grow too large. And remember, data is not just about analytics tool, it's also about the culture of how you run your store. Make funnels part of your team rhythm, discuss them in meetings, look at them before planning new campaigns. And when everyone on your team understands where customers drop off and where they convert, your marketing, designs, and operations all start working together. So, funnels are the thread that ties everyone's effort to custom reality. And if you want to go even deeper, combine your funnel data with qualitative input. Use surveys, customer interviews, chat transcripts, and support tickets to enrich your understanding of each drop off. So, for example, maybe a user drops off at checkout and you email them a quick one line question. Hey, we noticed you did not complete your order. Was something missing or unclear? The answer might give you a faster fix than days of testing. So it is always it's also not wise that we should always rely on numbers. Talk to people, because the best funnel strategies are data informed but human centered. And if you're running an e-commerce brand where community matters, like wellness, parenting, or hobby based niches, you can even include engagement events in your funnel. Track who reads blog posts, click community links, join your newsletters, or respond to a poll. So these are pre-purchase signals of intent and trust. And over time, you learn which of these signals leads to higher value customers. So maybe customers who read 3 blog posts before buying have lower return rates or higher repeat purchase rates. So now your funnel is not just about the first time conversion, it becomes a map of lifetime value. And that's the level of control you want. Because when you build funnels this way, detailed, thoughtful, tied to real user journeys, you're not just tracking metrics, you're building a system for growth that can stand the test of time, changes in algorithms, shifts in ads, ad cost, or updates in platform. You're making your store more smarter every week, and that's how you win long term in digital commerce. Not just with great products, but with great data uh, thinking behind them.